Welcome to the Smiles Ahead podcast, powered by Burrow Welchel Culp Orthodontics, where we answer your dental and orthodontic questions so you can be better prepared when you come into the office. I'm Dr. Sam Burrow, teacher, author, and award-winning board-certified orthodontist, here to answer some of your frequently asked questions. And welcome to another episode of the Smiles Ahead podcast, powered by BWC Orthodontics. Today, we're going to cover the very popular question, can I really not have popcorn? So a lot of people, get a little scared about what they can and can't eat with braces. So we're going to jump in and dive into a few of those. But as always, we're going to give you that answer right off the bat. So if you don't want to join us for the whole 8 to 10 minute conversation about eating food with braces, you can get the answer right now. And the answer is, well, a little complicated. If you're eating a little bit of popcorn, it's on top, you're not having the kernels, and you brush your teeth afterwards, we are good with popcorn. So talk to your orthodontist, but that's kind of how we look at it. And we'll go into the reasons behind why that's on the list and, basically, why that's such an important topic and on people's list right when they come in. I can't tell you how many people, when they come get their braces, whether they're kids or adults. In fact, a lot of adults go, man, I don't know if I can give up popcorn. To me, I love popcorn. I didn't know it was that popular, but apparently it is. And like we were saying before, when I gave the short answer, we'll kind of drag that out a little bit. The big reason that originally we don't like popcorn is it can come in different shapes and sizes, right? So you have your big fluffy popcorn, and then you have your kernels at the bottom. Well, if you get a couple of those kernels at the bottom, even with a handful of fluffy, bite on one of those kernels, boom, pops a bracket off, no question. So in those cases, if you're having movie night, if you're at the movie theater and you have a nice big bucket of popcorn, if it's on the top, in the middle, you're probably all good. When it starts getting towards the bottom, just watch out for those kernels and don't crunch on them with your teeth. Another big issue with popcorn that people don't think about as much is, how when you do eat popcorn, some of the shelling can get up under the bracket or, up near the gum. And if we're not cleaning that out, which, physically it's a little bit harder to clean with braces. So that's why we see it happen a little bit more. But if any of that popcorn kernel or any of that piece of that shell gets up under there, it can really irritate that tissue and can cause inflammation, that can cause pain, that can cause swelling, and now we're in a whole different situation. So if we're staying away from the kernels and we're brushing our teeth afterwards, we're in good shape. Our thought is, if it's movie night, if you're going out to the movies, don't take popcorn out of your life. Go ahead and do it. If it becomes a problem and you're coming in every week because you can't figure it out and you're saying, well, I eat popcorn 5 times a day. Well, yeah, maybe we might lay off of the popcorn. But in general, that's on there just as a super precaution and for those 2 reasons. So if we think about that logistically and we can get around it, popcorn can be okay with braces. Some orthodontists might kill me for saying that, but that's just my opinion on it. That goes to the rest of our list. So, of course, when we have you into the practice, we do give you this extensive list, scary list of things. Hey, you can't eat that. You can't do this. And some of it's valid, but a lot of it is, we couldn't pick every food, because if you go into a grocery store and, how many hundreds of thousands of types of food just in a Harris Teeter alone are there? Tons. So we kind of compile this list of basically things that are very sticky, very hard, will get stuck in your braces. And that list can become long if you're really thinking about it. So let's go over some of the popular ones. Another one is gum. That's probably just as popular as popcorn to ask about. And we now have a different stance on gum. We can chew sugar-free gum, which is good all around. They even have, some gums that are good for your oral hygiene and that type of stuff. So we're all over that. make sure you ask us about those types when you come to the office or if you're seeing another orthodontist. But in our office, and in my opinion, sugar-free gum is good. So if we're not having the big league chew and the, old school bazooka gum, real hard, nasty gum, loses taste real fast anyway. So Bubblicious now is softer, but probably still not good. But if you keep it to sugar-free, we're in great shape. So do that. Some of the other stuff, Starburst, Skittles, some of that really chewy stuff that I know is super good. I love it. So it's hard for me to tell you to have to give it up. But it is something, those are pretty high risk. A lot of people say, well, I ate Starburst the whole time I had braces and nothing came off. Well, good for you. But there are a lot of people that are not going to have that same luck, and it's just going to slow their process down. So going to that, what I tell people about avoiding those foods and avoiding that list is just be reasonable about it. We aren't really strict to the core about it until we start really breaking brackets almost every visit. And a lot of times that's not even just food. That's chewing on pencils. That's picking at your brackets. It can be a number of different things, but food choices can definitely do. Now, if you're chewing ice or Jolly Ranchers, sure, you're going to have tons of them. But if you're breaking it up a lot, we will get down to it and really try to guide you into the direction of taking care of them. Because in reality, the reason we care the most is it's going to frustrate you having to come in or your child come in, get their bracket replaced. It's going to ultimately make the treatment go longer because sometimes we have to back up wires because the tooth moves a little bit. So, is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. Does it happen? Most of the time, people are breaking, 1 to 5 brackets, per their whole 2 years. A lot of people don't break any at all. And then some people break 20. So we just want to eliminate or figure out how we can get that people that break 20 down. And some of these foods are just a good way to do that. My recommendation is always look at the food and look at the situation and say, usually you can look at something and be like, that would tear my braces right off. Don't eat that. But if it seems reasonable and you're careful with it, you can test it out at the beginning of your brackets and see if it works for you. Most of the time, people have great judgment in this, and we have no issues with it. Just that small percentage that do. And if we do have a problem with it, we can walk you through it, talk to us, be honest about what you're eating, and we can guide you on how to make that a more successful treatment for you. Another topic of food is the bagels, pizzas, this type of stuff. Now, this stuff isn't on the list. Bagels might be, just because if people toast them really hard, I'm not quite sure biting into them like that. But if you're careful with bagels and pizzas, I personally would never take pizza away from anybody's food choice, being that it's my favorite food. Steak as well. Just make sure you're cutting it up. But I don't think most people are grabbing their steaks and gnawing on them with their front teeth. But if you are, go ahead and cut that up while you have the brackets on, and you'll be perfectly fine. What's so important too with the food situation is not only breaking the brackets, but what type of foods really can hurt the teeth or slow down treatment while you have the braces on. And that's a lot of the stuff that break it. So those Starbursts, those Skittles, they're just full of sugar. What that sugar is going to do, if you're not brushing it off constantly, is stick around that bracket, stick around the area where the bracket is, and cause white lesions and cause inflamed tissue, gingivitis, these type of things that make the treatment slower, and then might have to get your braces off earlier before we can get a perfect finish. And nobody wants that. Everybody wants that nice Hollywood-looking smile when we get them off. So foods are super important when it comes to breaking brackets, but if we are very reasonable with it and we look at it and we use good judgment, a lot of times that list isn't nearly as long as we have it. So go with that, but just know that the oral hygiene part is super important. So if you are drinking sugary drinks, people forget about that. They sip on whatever Starbucks is serving that month, crazy 50 grams of sugar in one jug, grazing on that all day, and then not brushing their teeth till that night. That's probably going to cause some issues even if you don't have braces, that's going to cause an issue, but it is a little bit heightened. So any of that starchy food, sugary drinks, make sure you're getting those clean, and then avoiding those really, really taxing foods like the extremely sticky candies. Obviously no ice, anything super hard if you're biting into it. Just use good judgment, and you should be able to keep those brackets on your teeth, keep your treatment going as expected, and be able to finish this up. So long journey there. Basically what we're saying here is, can we have popcorn with braces? Absolutely. You just have to watch for those kernels and make sure you're brushing your teeth. And with the other stuff, use good judgment. So if you look at a piece of Laffy Taffy, probably going to pull the braces off. Don't eat it. Piece of pizza, completely fine. But remember, that is starchy. Brush your teeth afterwards. Hope this was helpful, and stick around. Next time, we're going to have some really cool topics. We're basically going to go through a lot of common questions that are considered asked like this. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, and remember, I'll always give you the answer at the beginning, so if you don't want that long-winded one, you can just pop in and hear that. But we appreciate you and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for listening to the Smiles Ahead podcast, powered by Burrow Welchel Culp Orthodontics. Be sure to leave a rating, hit that subscribe button, and if you have more questions, you can reach out to me directly at sam@bwcortho.com. That's sam@bwcortho.com. You can also visit our website, bwcortho.com, and we will be happy to answer any questions you might have.